Hello, welcome to part 1 of the Kona playthrough. If you wound up here because you did a search for best beer made by Kona, you are in the wrong place. But the answer to that question is Island Colada Wheat Ale. If you haven't tried it, you should. It's beer and pina colada. You can't beat that combination, right? So Kona was developed by Canadian studio Parabole and published by Ravenscourt in March of 2017. Parabole is an indie developer that was founded in 2012 by 3 developers who had worked at Beenox, a subsidiary of Activision. Their initial idea for the studio was to create short games for people who did not have a lot of free time. That's a great idea, right? Not everyone has 60 hours to play through a game's story. I couldn't find a lot of info on this game in particular, which is pretty common with indie studios and their limited budgets, so I'll just share some basic facts I discovered. The game takes place in the 1970s, and the game's locations take their inspiration from a blend of northern Quebec towns. Kona was the first game developed by Parabole and was partially funded by using the Kickstarter website. The campaign was launched in August of 2014 with a goal of 40,000 Canadian dollars. It ended a little less than a month later with more than 44,000 Canadian dollars. And that amount, by the way, was raised by just over 1,300 people. Later, additional funding for the game came from the Canada Media Fund. Other games funded, or at least partially funded, by the Canada Media Fund are Consortium, Outlast, Dead by Daylight, and The Long Dark. Kona was released to Steam Early Access in March of 2016 and fully released a year later. In June of 2019, Kona was ported to VR for the PlayStation VR, Oculus Rift, and HTC platforms. Kona received mixed or average reviews from critics according to Metacritic, with an aggregate score of 73% for Microsoft Windows, 71% for the PlayStation 4, and 63% for the Nintendo Switch. And in April of 2024, the game was released to the Xbox Game Pass, and that is where I discovered it. I'm playing it now because I was made aware that it is leaving Game Pass in a few days. And lastly, a sequel, Kona 2 Broom, was released in 2023. So let's give this game a shot. Let's see what Northern Quebec in the 1970s was like. I'm sure it was great.
Sought information for a living. That is to say that ever since he returned from Korea, after having served with the armed forces, he had been working as a private investigator in Montreal. William Hamilton, a rich industrialist, had gotten in touch with him regarding a simple vandalism issue. Nothing to write home about. Not worth hiring a private eye either, just so he can drive for hours on rough roads. But that's how it had always been. The client pays, Carl gets it done. They had set up to meet at the general store, his client's business. Well, actually, the entire village had William Hamilton's name written all over it.
Kind of a narrow road here.
When the roads were bad, muddy, or snowed in, it was customary around these parts to close them off. But it was also customary to ignore those signs entirely and drive there anyway.
Ooh, that is a gas guzzler of a truck there, huh? Well, okay. Wonder what the miles per gallon on that truck were. Probably like what? 10 to 12 tops. Filling that thing up in California now, whew, it's a lot of money. Okay, the flyer says, Northern Quebec and its inexhaustible resources. The province of Quebec sits on an inexhaustible abundance of natural resources. Why not take advantage of this? Our valuable minerals could travel the world and reach places as far as Dallas, USA. Get involved and invest now. Quebec's economic might be awakened. I just said might. It says will. I'm just putting words in there. I apologize. At the heart of the wilderness. The north is swarming with wolves, caribous, bears, partridges, foxes, snowy owls, and hordes of other majestic creatures that are every bit the equals of Africa's wildlife. I don't know about that. We are the Africa of America. Come discover the North and experience a genuine white jungle. Okay. I wonder if that was an actual flyer in the 1970s. Here's the map. Okay. Oh, this is probably illegal, but I have to go.
The cutters made quick work of the chain. What better way to investigate vandals than to get into their shoes, Carl, the professional vandal thought, reveling in the irony of the situation.
Yeah, Carl's just doing some method acting.
Hamilton is waiting for Carl in the general store. It was time for him to get down to business. Hamilton never mentioned a road-blocking barrier. Why was it needed here in the back of Beyond? That would, however, be a mystery for another day. Carl had waited long enough for someone to come and raise it. William Hamilton enjoyed a lavish country house built in the very heart of the northern forests, not too far from here. The local populace was divided when it came to the affluent man. Some saw a wealthy philanthropist dedicated to improving the region's economy. Others, an aging Englishman who would do anything to further his fortunes. And those ones hated him enough to go on about scheming against him. Hamilton had recently acquired a few local businesses, but the last straw was the reopening of a mine, which gave rise to a wave of protests and threats from the Cree people. Given these circumstances, Carl reckoned that a good number of people must be feeling compelled to oppose Hamilton in one way or another. So
oh, Jesus, no!
House had been a target, but soon enough, Carl thought.
Wait, what? Was I driving too fast to get through the words? The game was narrating and I crashed, so.
The target would become the man himself. Carl needed to get out of there. The cold and the pain required urgent care. The driver had taken off. It was still best to check it out and leave nothing to chance. Carl needed help. Such heart-wrenching Nordic poetry that was. But Carl didn't care much about flowery language.
Isabel, you gave meaning to everything. When you disappeared, so did purity. I would defend purity against the winds, the tides, against ice and blizzard. Sure you would.
It was so cold. Already Carl did not feel his toes anymore.
Ooh, medical kit. Need that.
This deep in the country, his last hope was to find an abandoned garage or a farm by the roadside. His life depended on it.
Need to get out of this this snowstorm before I die.
Even better than he had hoped. Carl Faubert had succeeded once more and was now on his way to new adventures.
Let's go start this fire so I don't die. Oh, much better. 6 matches, another fire starter. Do I just leave the fire on? Alright, so I can't put another log on. Doesn't look like I could grab anything else in this cabin. Got it. So I need to use that med kit, I guess. Let me go back in here.
Carl, ever diligent in his work, always carried his log on him, in which he scribbled down thoughts and leads alike during the course of his investigations.
The crash, an accident. I haven't been this shaken up since Korea. Who was the driver in the other car? Whoever it was, they don't have a snowball's chance in hell if they intended to continue on foot. Besides, why did they leave so suddenly? Alright, how do I use the med kit? Oh, there we go. Much better. Alright, let's try to leave. Because there's nothing here. Suppose I could go up here. See if there's anything up here real quick. Like that other place had the chest up top. And nothing. Okay. Hope that tree doesn't fall on me.
Wasn't a good time to wander about. Hamilton was still out there.
This is some serious snow here. Jesus. Looks like my gas is low too. Hope I don't
Spread
run
out
out
on a few acres of untouched forest, bellowing caribou, everlasting snow, and undefiled lakes. The Manistan region was no tourist hub. It was said to have been populated for millennia by Cree people, and ever since the industrial era, by the metal mining industry. Jean-Luc Bédard had without a doubt been the closest man in the village to William Hamilton, up otherwise known as Uncle Willie. The truck was running on fumes. Good thing that the general store was close by. Surrender their divine nectar so easily. In all likelihood, they had to be switched on from inside the store.
Oh!
Carl had no trouble recognizing his employer. He had been killed. There was no need to be a detective to figure that out. But only a detective could have noticed that the killer had to have been very close, that the fatal blow had been given before the victim even realized.
This place is a mess. Let's see what that is over there, not step on him. Oh, that's a really good crime scene photo. What is this?
What could be inside that envelope? Carl was taken aback. He knew this address. It was said to be the address of the P.O. box for the Canadian Secret Service.
And how did he know that? God, that truck's loud. Need to get the...
An explosion suddenly occurred outside.
Oh!
Maintaining his composure, Carl recalled something from his military training. Wolves always stay away from populated areas. Wait, was it about bears?
What is this?
Prince? Carl found a surprise at every turn. Was the camera faulty, or was it a possible lead?
I wonder, is my film limited?
Carl was no electrician, but he could identify a wiring problem when he saw one.
Okay. So I need... What did I need? Tape and some pliers, it looks like. To open the cash register, punch the price, 2 numbers minimum, press sale, turn the crank 2 times, punch the machine if it doesn't work. Okay. Oh, I definitely need that.
According to that log, it seemed like the whole village owed some money to the general store. Carl was far more interested in the bunch of nearby addresses he had just gotten his hands on, though.
There's a lot of people owing some money.
Carl knew that Gilles Lachance was in charge of the general store. That made him one of Hamilton's employees. A very angry employee, as Carl could plainly see.
Gilles, note from Gilles. You know what, Hamilton? I have a frog in my throat. And when people have a frog in their throat, they do not take risks by going to work. Customers could catch it, right? I'm a wise man. Not to worry, I will have a nice doctor's note, which I'm going out to get right now. Sadly, in the meantime, I will have to close down the shop, unless you would like to come fill in for me. I wouldn't dare advise you, after all. You must know how it's done, since it's yours now. With kind regards, your dedicated manager, Gilles. I'm totally butchering the pronunciation. I might just call him Giles. Does this work? No.
The snowstorm pummeled everything in its path. Carl was not surprised when he heard no tone.
Oh, geez. Quebec's Klondike. Northern Quebec's economy is booming. The north of that area, population will soon reach 30,000 souls, among which thousands of happy families will be prospering, thanks to the hard labor of their fathers, who will be contributing valiantly in expanding Quebec's national wealth. Mines and hydroelectricity, hunting and fishing, the true Canadian dream. Turn it into your reality now. The mines, a sector in full expansion. Oh, Jesus. Sorry. Did you know that since 1960, Canada tripled the amount of resource royalties it collects? Did you know that the country's true source of richness is lying under your very feet at this very moment? The buildings of our schools and our hospitals depends on minerals. Exploiting our resources, the road to our future. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Nothing bad has ever happened when you exploit resources, right? Alright, I still need some pliers. There we go. The cleanest spot in the area. Okay. Let's go fix this wire. Can I warm myself up here? Let's check this out real quick. Hold on. There we go. Get that brain all the way to green for a second. I guess it's green. Like new. Oh, yeah.
A nice picture of the Magasin Lachance store,
Lachance.
seemingly taken the day it was first opened. It feels frozen in time, from an era long forgotten. Jumping from that height was akin to tempting death. Perhaps that man on the snowmobile had seen enough of this world already.
That's funny.
Amateur hunters showing some pride at having killed a nice pelted beast. With men like this roaming the area, wolves would become extinct within 10 years, Carl thought.
Oh yeah, it was two numbers, at least two numbers, right? So 9, sail. One post key, okay. Do one of these open? Where's the post? By the way, what am I supposed to do about this dead guy?
Carl felt a chill down his spine and had a terrifying realization. If Hamilton was dead, then who was going to pay him?
Excellent question. Well, I'm pretty sure that beer is cold, bro.
Carl knew straight away where to find the infuriated Jah-Sin. Any good investigation would have to start there.
Okay, so where's that map? Alright. Oops. It doesn't tell you where his house is? Shit, hold on. Did I miss something? Where's the Jah-Sin? Where's his house? Oh!
Something fell to the bottom of the
What the hell?
box. The murder weapon. What was that doing there, Carl wondered. Hamilton must have been determined to keep some information secret to post this key. Shame he got unlucky. Everything made sense now. Poor Hamilton's denunciation was interrupted, and he figured it would be best to lock everything up and send the key to his correspondent, who would receive the box later on. Clever, but not enough. That's what happens to ordinary people playing spy.
Okay, letter from Hamilton. It is as a citizen of Her Majesty and the free economic chambers of the world that I must address what follows to the proper authorities. The worst is happening at this very moment. I cannot write at length, but I am requesting immediate help from my country. I believe the free world is in grave danger. A member of my community, the Honorable... And that's it. Okay, hold on. Where do I find this? The address of Jah-Sin. Oh. It is there, okay. So I have to, I guess, turn around, take a left back. Hopefully no one stole my truck in 1970s Quebec. They didn't.
Carl felt that the store and its surroundings still held their secrets, and he didn't like to miss out.
Is there something in this truck?
Had to be the worst parking job ever. Who was Carl to judge, though? It may be customary to park like that around these parts, or not.
J'ai eu la chance. Open, so I'm not knocking. Okay. Oh, Jesus. What
The air was freezing.
what happened here?
Right down to the bone. The pot was cold, and the stew inside wasn't cooked. It's likely that poor Giselle was slow cooking it before she got snaps. What a waste. A sudden cold snap struck Carl, who felt like he was pulled into a dream. Something was hidden under the stairs.
Bertrand Lachance.
The man grabbed his rifle. Carl felt a sense of dread in him. Perhaps their spousal relationship had been cooling down lately.
This is weird.
It seemed like secrecy was commonplace in this house. Carl felt the cold slowly dissipate and was brought back to reality. Giselle was now only ice, and all that was left of her voice was a diary. She confided in this diary, amongst other things, the tragic story of a young woman, a victim. Was this what she was hiding?
Giselle's diary, page 1, September. Mother once told me when I first met Gilles that I hadn't picked the brightest bulb of the lot. And as the years fly by, I'm seeing the truth of her words. Always trust your mother's wisdom. That blackmailing scheme is a prime example of Gilles' brightness. He's like a small dog. He thinks he's bigger than he actually is. He growls, genuinely thinking he's scary, but everyone knows he can be pushed aside with just a little kick. He truly believes he can blackmail Hamilton, the big boss himself. It's going to be a long time in hell before my poor Gilles can manage to pull off such a feat. After all, Hamilton's a rich, learned, and influential man. Not only is that blackmailing idea bad to begin with, let's be honest, Gilles is way out of his league. But Gilles doesn't even know how he's actually going to carry this out. I don't even think he ever would. He's just throwing random threats out loud in the kitchen. He says he'll do it eventually, but I know better. Successful blackmailing requires masterful cunning, and Gilles is master of nothing. He is a slave, and forever will be. I often look at that safe he keeps hidden in the fake wall, in which he stores all those, quote, incriminating documents, end quote, he intends to use. And I just can't come to grips with the sheer ridiculousness of the whole thing. Is that it? Is there another page? Hold on. Oh, nope. Page 2. It is true that Hamilton will still have to figure out the combination of the safe where everything is hidden. Only problem is, Gilles himself tends to forget the combination. He has a trick to help him remember. His father's first initial, followed by 3 numbers I had to engrave behind his pendant. Who could possibly have a hard time remembering 3 simple numbers but my Gilles? October. Gilles has trouble sleeping. He will flail his arms and legs in his sleep. I told him this blackmail business would be hard on him. But that's the problem with idiots. They always think they're the smartest person around, no matter how hard you try to shake them. Hamilton will find out, and then we're done for. We'll have to move to Val-d'Or and live with the small fry. I'm shaking as I'm writing this. I cannot believe I have taken part in this tragedy. I haven't done anything. Why do I feel so guilty? Poor girl. She was so young. Wait, what? What poor girl? What? That's it? That's all I get? Yep, okay. So, something happened to some girl. Looks like they were repainting the whole house. The unpacked boxes suggest they just moved here. Okay. What is that? Oh, painkiller. Okay. Does the phone not work? I guess not. Should probably take a picture of this.
The Polaroid, Carl's long-standing and faithful ally, had seen its share of husbands caught red-handed cheating. There's always something out there waiting to be snapped away.
I have yet to find a clock that works. Ooh, nice little steak. She's not going to eat it. Giselle.
Looks like the holes in that puzzle are there to stay.
Oh yeah, let's start a fire. Oh, so is that... I see saving up there. Does it only save when you start a fire, maybe? So I need to make sure I get plenty of fire starters. Okay.
The general store, along with several more infrastructures in the area, had been acquired by wealthy industrialist William J. Hamilton. Perhaps the village should be rechristened Hamiltown.
Good one. Che LaChance's Che LaChance changes hands. Founded by Bertrand LaChance more than 20 years ago, the general store, better known as Che LaChance, is one of Manastin's economic mainstays. Since the passing of its aged owner, however, business wasn't as blooming as it once was. Gilles LaChance, inheritor of the humble establishment, had no choice but to sell everything to William Hamilton, the rich and famous businessman who sparked a major controversy last year when he announced the reopening and expansion of his copper mine. As of now, operations at the general store are expected to remain unchanged despite the change of hands. Gilles LaChance still helms the register. This one, it's the safe. Okay, what did that journal say? Nope. Oh, what is this? Oh, that was the message. Okay. Where is all the snow coming from? They say fall is an unpredictable season, but this is something else. I saw some very weird ice earlier that seemed to be lit up from within. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know the chemical process in which pictures reveal invisible prints. I have to say, it looks entirely supernatural. Are those caribou footprints? Okay. The general store manager's wife, Giselle LaChance, frozen. What freezer is behind all this? For what it's worth, a vision told me that things weren't going so well between the LaChances. They were hiding many things from each other, deep, deep down. The woman's diary spoke volumes about that. She even reveals the secrets within her husband's safe. Many screams and secrets between them. Shit, what did that diary say? Did it say the first letter?
It felt like old people were all these walls could see for years. The LaChances could hardly be blamed for wanting to freshen things up a bit.
I don't... First letter of his father's name, so I guess that's Bertrand, right? But I don't have the three numbers that he couldn't remember.
What a mess. Clearly, there was some major revamping work underway here. The place looked barely habitable.
Cigarettes, okay.
Beautiful portrait of Gilles and Giselle, bound together by the chains of conventional love. A nice white coating would restore the room to its charm of olden days.
Okay, much better. Can see more. Oh, some more film. Guess that means I have limited film, so I should stop taking 2 pictures of everything, right?
Many boxes scattered about. Carl didn't need to summon his detective training to quickly figure that the LaChances had just moved in.
All right, let's look at this map. Okay, so if we go back to the general store, then we go left to the doctor. Oh, did I even look at this?
That window had seemingly been left open for a while, Carl thought. Given the punishing weather, it couldn't have been intentional. Carl was used to strange phenomena, but a chunk of ice like this, as if an iceberg came out of the ground, that was a first.
Oh, Giselle. Don't know what I need a magnet for. Is this a bad idea? Is that a person?
A shiver ran down Carl's spine as he glanced over another body trapped in ice. Indeed, the scene was quite chilling.
No pun intended, right, Carl?
Carl felt familiar shivers going down his spine, and he was back to the realm of visions.
Oh, shit.
To all appearances, this was a hunting log. Better yet, a war diary.
Okay. Mysterious Journal, page 1. The beast enjoys long slumbers. Its sanctuary seems impregnable. Ice is everywhere. I need to exercise patience and wait for it to come out. To think like a hunter. The beast often invades the settlements bordering the lake. It terrorizes the white people. They never see it coming, but they feel its presence, a cold dread grabbing at your innards. The beast excites the wolves, makes them more aggressive. One attacked me. I had to cut its throat. The blade digging into its flesh made the sound of a taut wire. The beast is getting closer to the villagers. It moves at night, bringing heavy snow and strong gusts of wind along with it. I tracked it, to no avail. I do not know the white man frozen in ice, but I do know this. It is the work of the beast. Its attacks curdle the blood of its victims. White men know nothing of this force of nature. I touched the ice imprisoning the white man. I saw things, but I do not understand them. It was as if past and present were one, or as if I was a spider, and with my 8 eyes, I could see backward and forward simultaneously. This beast, this creature, is not of this world. I must find the beast again, and if necessary, eliminate it. Okay, weirdo.
What could these engraved
I know what they
numbers
mean.
A fresh path suddenly appeared before
739? I know what that means. Oh, is this the truck that I walked up to earlier? Gilles
The
Wallet.
vision slowly faded away, like an icicle melting in the palm of your hand. Carl, back in the real world, now knew who the icebound man was. Gilles Lachance, the general store's manager himself.
Oh. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Am I going to die because I'm on foot? Oh no. I'm cold. Need to go warm up at the general store. Was it a bad idea to walk all that way? And is his body going to start to smell because of the warmth? All right, let's try this. Try not to die.
Carl felt that the store and its surroundings still held their secrets, and he didn't like to miss out.
Oh, thank goodness. Close this door. I need to warm up. Let's go check out this safe.
Carl had seen that kind of safe before. With its double-layered security system blending letters and numbers, its code couldn't be broken by the common burglar.
But it could be broken by Carl. Come on, grab it, dude. Okay. Compromising document. William Hamilton is a crook. He has been blackmailing everyone in the village, myself included, like the infamous Seraphim Poudriere. And this document is proof of every bribe paid by Hamilton to the federal authorities in regard to the acquisition of his damn mine. The fact that he has used his henchmen to instill terror within the village will not sway the tribunals down in Montreal, but the fact that he has been bribing government officials surely will. I can already picture it making the front page. The English are all the same. We will prevail. Written with different ink. Hamilton is not only a crook, but a murderer. I do not believe in his remorse. I firmly believe he will pay for his crime. I do not believe in native magic, but I do believe in their vengeance. Is that it? No more pages? Okay. Alright. So I have that. Where do I go next? The doctor's office, maybe? Oh, and the box I found is State Affair. No less. Hamilton wanted to expose some shady activity by enemies of democracy. Still need to figure out why the hell this message ended up in the doctor's hands. The reckless driver was definitely a fugitive running from the scene of their crime, still covered in Hamilton's blood. What a mess. Okay, already saw this. Got the necklace. Okay, so let's go to the doctor's office then. The wrong way. I am. Oops. Turn the music off. Maybe that was the problem. Where's this go? Oh! That appeared out of nowhere. We fled. It was getting too dangerous. More people live in North Maniston. It will be safer there. Jean Roy. Okay.
It was a classic Canadian house, except for the absent horde of kids that would normally be swarming about. Just one more move and White is checkmated. Game over. It seems the game was abandoned right before the final strike came down.
Oh, novel. Do I really need to read this? Ugh. The fantasy, page 1. Matthew had yet to add murderer to his curriculum. He was fond of new experiences, especially the most thrilling ones, and taking the life of a flesh and bone individual who the night before was still able to think, dream, fantasize, calculate, read, held the promise of exhilarating sensations. Unlike Raskolnikov, it wasn't about axing an old Jewish hag to pieces to test some lunatic theory. Not at all. Matthew just wanted to know how it felt. It seemed so simple. Horribly simple. He didn't have any particular victim in mind. Like most people, his desires ran quite wildly, so he only had a vague idea of them in mind. He pondered using a rifle or a knife, assassinating a young girl or an old man. He tried to focus on practicability. His victim would have to be defenseless. Bodybuilding wasn't exactly Matthew's strong suit. He would have to act spontaneously, but not too much. He wasn't that eager to learn what spending the rest of his life in prison would be like. Some experiences carried just too high a cost to be worth it, really. Oh, okay. I'm not sure that's going to get published. There we go. This is save. So yeah, I've definitely learned that starting a fire is what saves the game. Some more matches, always good. Oops. What are those? Is it weird that I'm just breaking into people's houses in this game? Fire started, yes. Any Polaroid film in here?
The photograph was snapped not too far from here, Carl noticed. The couple seemed to be very good friends.
Painkillers. Fill up bottle, so I need a bottle. Okay. Is there a bottle in the... I'll find out in a second. Oh, page 2. It was just around that time... Nope, it didn't say just anywhere, did it? It was around that time that Matthew met Beatrice. Of mediocre beauty at best, the girl with her distinctive features, cheeks covered with large pox-like freckles, Jew nose, oily forehead, tired but vibrant eyes, shaded red hair, slender as a child body, chirpy laugh, you name it, was the very image of innocence. That happened to be precisely the kind of victim Matthew was picturing in his mind, though. One night, as he was contemplating the ceiling from his bed, he swore to himself again and again, "I'll kill her." His dreams were later filled with images of the imminent crime. He had come up with a simple enough plan. One fine evening, he would visit her place to become familiar with the area's intricacies and feel closer to the impending murder, to slowly dig into Beatrice's thoughts, desires, dreams, and abilities. This way, he would be able to get a concrete sense of what his sinister deed would be stripping away from the very fabric of life. The whole thing would take 2 days, a week at most. What a weird novel. Canoply. Win if you pass go.
All manners of clothing were gone, as if the Rois drove out of town with their closet in tow. All manners of clothing were gone, as if the Rois drove out of town with their closet in tow.
What is that on the other side? Oh, is this going to be page 3 of this terrible, weird novel? Nope, this is. The first time he met Beatrice, however, she unexpectedly revealed her troubled origins to Matthew. She was adopted at the age of 4, and recalling her former life still gave her a hard time. She played the piano in so graceful a manner that people often thought she may be the natural offspring of a musical virtuoso. She always cried before falling asleep, torn from the inside by a dreadful pain she couldn't explain. She confided to him so profoundly that Matthew couldn't get enough, coming back every night to learn every single thing of what would become out of that delicate, or what would come out of that delicate mouth after pulling one last breath out of it. Every night, he reflected on what the death of Beatrice would mean in terms of losses to humanity's common heritage, be it the sound of her sobbing or her piano melodies, the compulsive tapping of her long index finger on her temple when she harbored dark thoughts, or any other little thing. It didn't matter. Everything would indiscriminately vanish. Everything. All these thoughts made for some blissful slumbers indeed. Then days became weeks, and before he knew it, it was Matthew's turn to throw his secrets at her, his hopes, his cries of despair, as if throwing coins in a wishing well. She'll be dead by the end of the month, he promised himself. Okay. What is that? All right. That's a weird picture. I have to check out outside there in a minute. All right, what's this?
A murderer's
Oh,
diary.
another one.
Carl's detective training compelled him to write some excerpts down. What sort of monster could give life to such a bizarre tale?
All right. The fantasy, page 4. The two lovebirds were still going at it 7 months later, though confiding fears and desires alike near the fireplace several days a week. The populace took notice, and wounding words eventually found their way to Matthew's ear, prompting him to take action to prove his gentlemanship. He had to ask Beatrice's hand in marriage. He would have more than enough time to kill her later. Today, when Matthew stares at the motionless ceiling, just like he did 20 years ago, he still wonders what he would be removing from existence by slitting Beatrice's throat, what he would be depriving his children of. Then, as if soothed by his fantasy, he gently drifts off, smiling the night away. Okay. He's clearly a crazy person.
Not a single weapon was left. All of them were gone.
Is there a bottle in here or just fire starter? Oh, some rifle ammo. All right, where's there a bottle? Maybe outside. I'll check in a second. Carl should definitely take those eggs, since they cost $6 a dozen now. How do I select the gun? Where the hell is the gun? I do have a pistol, right? Because I'm not seeing it. There it is.
Carl never thought he would be dancing with the wolves.
What the hell? What is that? Oh, the magnet. So do I need a rope in the magnet?
An axe. Not too shabby. Carl felt he needed to protect himself.
Oh, some Polaroid film. Is that it? Is there no guns or rope in here? Oh, this beer would be cold, wouldn't it? Let's warm up here for a sec. I want to see if I could fill up the bottle with water in that sink or whatever. Nope, don't have the right bottle. Alright, so Roy, and then there's that house, Bedard. So I guess I'll go to that house next. Should I drive though?
The couple radiated something akin to lightheartedness, to freedom. Perhaps some people out there truly found a way to live happily ever after. A picture of Wilfred in his youth. Carl figured right away that the man must have been some kind of wildlife officer.
Okay, if you say so. Where's the... There's no light switch in here. Does this lamp turn on? Yes, it does. Okay. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything.
All manners of clothing were gone, as if the Rois drove out of town with their closet in tow.
Definitely need the cigarettes, right? All right. Oh, I see. I have a weight limit here. I haven't reached it yet, so I'm not putting anything in there yet. I don't know why I'm leaving the truck running. I could totally turn it off. Engine should be warm enough that it's not going to freeze up. Oh, that would have been good to fill up the water. I'm sure this house has a sink too, right?
What was even the point of locking your door? If everyone hid their key in the same place.
True, true.
Carl was starting to feel like his investigator life lacked challenge. The house smelled like incense, the kind that reminds you of the good Lord, of peace.
Enough food for rough times. Bread just chilling. You know what? Do I eat the food? Let's see. No, it's not that. It's not that. Which one's the food? It's painkillers. What happens if I smoke a cigarette?
Carl, like many of his contemporaries, felt like he had more trouble breathing when he wasn't
Oh, he just threw it in the fridge.
Cigarette
Come on, Carl.
was his own personal breathing assistant.
How did they draw the sun? Very carefully.
Religion was very influential throughout Quebec many years ago. Indeed, it was surprising that Carl did not come across a single chapel since arriving here.
That is shocking, isn't it?
Good Paul VI, appearing papal. His crooked fingers gave the impression he was about to bestow a miracle.
TV is on the other side. Okay. No loose change in the cracks. Oh yeah, I need to do this so I could save. There we go. All right. Unfortunately, I can't read French, so I don't know what that says.
The perfect cookie-cutter Catholic family, most likely attending church every Sunday. Who knew that giraffes thrived in the North Pole? The craze for toys was stupefying.
Where's the light switch?
The family's mother must have spent her days washing the filth off her kids' diapers.
What? I'm basically a burglar. Oh, here we go. Marie's diary. Page 1. Oh, I'm reading a, what, teenage girl's diary? That's not good. Come on. August 16th. I have a diary, just like Mom. Unlike her, though, I don't wear a long face when writing, but I do love to write my thoughts. And about Martin, most of all. I love talking about him. I think he loves me too, just like in Romeo and Juliet. People don't like it when I see him, only because he's a Blaise. But just like love in the story, nothing can stand in the way of true love. August 18th. I guess I've lost my appetite. I can't sleep anymore. Every waking hour, intense shivers run through my body. Dad's making me see Dr. Beaupre, with his big hands touching me everywhere, his foul breath exhaling all over my face. Yuck! I'm not sick. I'm in love. I love Martin so much. There's nothing I like better than thinking about us playing together, like we always do. I wonder if he found the key I lost the other day. He was pretty sad when I did, because it's for his dad's garden shed, and Martin has always been afraid of him. I think Martin's dad is a bit like Dad's God. The key fell in a burrow next to the shed. Poor Martin, he cried like a baby, but I still love him. Okay, August 24th. Mom often cries when she feels lonely. I think there's no reason for her to cry. Mom can be stupid sometimes. Dad works a lot because of that wealthy Englishman buying everything. That's what notaries do. They make sure that people get what they're paying for, basically. It's complicated, but that's how Dad explained it to me. The rich guy doesn't look half as bad as Martin told me he was. When I saw him this morning at Dad's office, he told me, "Call me Uncle Willie." I found that pretty funny. Plus, he gave me candy. Okay, it was kind of old and dry, but it was still candy. I think Dad gets along well with Uncle Willie because when he's with him, he laughs the same way he does with Father LaBelle. September 22nd. I had to gobble up Dr. Beaupre's horrible medicine because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have made it to Christmas, or so he said. I haven't seen Martin in weeks. Nor did I go to school for that matter. Dad has been praying beside my bed every morning for a while now, and at bedtime too. Today, he went hunting with Uncle Willie, and he told me to ask God to bless him in my prayers. Page 3. I think this has to do with the medicine that only the richest of rich can afford. Dad told me he'll be praying for Uncle Willie until the day he dies, and that I should do the same. God, Father LaBelle, and now Uncle Willie. I wonder when Dad finds the time to pray for Santa Claus. September 28th. How can Mom be so stupid? And she's getting fat, too. She cries like a newborn puppy all the time. It's so annoying. I came across Martin today. He seemed pretty thin, and maybe kind of dirty. He doesn't look as neat and presentable as Uncle Willie. That's for sure. Okay. Interesting. So that key in the hole thing or whatever, I need to figure out how to get that out. Works of art from a future artist. I don't know about that.
Carl wasn't desperate enough to invade a village woman's privacy. Carl wasn't desperate
he
enough to invade a village woman's
He just
privacy.
read a girl's diary. Gotta be kidding me. Are you sure? Let me try this one more time.
Carl wasn't desperate enough to invade a village woman's privacy.
He's already broken into the house. He's looked at a girl's diary. Carl needs to stop thinking he has limits, right? Let me fill up this bottle. Where was that friggin'... You know, all Carl needs is a thicker coat. Uh-oh. It's starting to get cold. Is there a place I could start a fire over here? And why am I following a wolf's tracks, by the way? That just seems like a really bad idea.
A fire is as good as the materials used to create it.
And there's no wood. Is that a tent?
Carl's scout training was buried deep in his memory. What do you need again to start a fire?
Logs. I got it, but where the hell are the logs? Why can I not go in there? I need to go back to the house for sure. Oh, Jesus. You know what I just realized? I have the axe, right? So couldn't I chop down a tree?
Carl wondered how long he would have to endure this skin-stinging cold.
Well, until he finds some friggin' logs, dude. Jesus, don't fall in the river, dude. Dudester. Almost there. Another minute. Come on, you can do it, Carl. Look at that. You can see the chimney. Oh, come on. You can make it. Much better. Let's get over here and warm up. There we go. Yeah. Oh, I need some more logs. Inventory's full now. So I need to get rid of something and put in the truck. Alright. Make sure I didn't miss anything in here. All right, let's go check out one more house or whatever, and then we'll end part one. Uh-oh, don't get stuck. Alright, we'll go left, and then we'll go to that doctor's office, I think. Is it weird that there's no other cars on the road?
Carl felt that the store and its surroundings still held their secrets, and he didn't like to miss out.
What's this say?
There should be a law forbidding doctors from falling sick.
Medical emergency in town. The doctor there is sick. I'll be back soon. If he dies, I won't be returning. I'll have to replace him. What? All right.
In spite of Dr. Beaupre's goodwill, the place didn't look much like a physician's office. It could easily be mistaken for a sewing shop.
A sewing shop? Yeah, let's take some more painkillers.
The injured could be recognized by the large stains of red, an informal nickname given to Merbromen, smudged all over their injuries. The good doctor, flanked by his beautiful spouse. Pure happiness, captured on cardstock.
Read medical
Carl
files?
recognized this woman's soulful eyes. Was it Dr. Beaupre who had hit him head-on at the village border?
Good question. Okay. Unknown woman. I never did catch her name. The men called her Lore. She had a neck wound. There was so much blood. The bullet had done a lot of damage, probably hitting the cerebellum. It was hopeless. She had a cardiac arrest. The men had found her like this, they said. I doubt it. But in a small town like this, it's usually best to turn a blind eye. I've been told to step back from sending her out to the death I've been told to step back from sending out the death certificate. This whole thing sickens me. Rosaire Armand. No medical explanation whatsoever can explain why old Rosaire is still alive. As we in the trade say, the only way to cure him is to kill him. Sylvie Bedard. All of her symptoms point to the same root cause. She's pregnant. She refuses it. She denies it. I'm willing to bet her husband is not the father. Let's hope it's not Everett Lockhart, though, or she would have an illegitimate child and syphilis on her hands. Sorry, it's not funny, I guess.
There was no doubt that the doctor and Hamilton knew each other very well.
William Joseph Hamilton. Haughty, can't be cured. Chronic foot pain, can't walk long distances. Rich, I'll cure him of that one day. Oh, will you?
Doctors used light-reflecting frontal mirrors to look inside the patient's cavities. That was a bit unsettling. But back then, it was pretty much always the case with medicine. A communist manifesto. Only a few years ago, this type of allegiance meant prison time. And even at present, the Western world was very wary of the Soviet threat. Mm-hmm. Why would the doctor own such a book?
Because he's a commie.
Nobody kills a rich patient to start a revolution. It didn't make any sense. He had to dig deeper still to understand. Luckily, that was Carl Faubert's specialty.
Communist Manifesto. The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles. Freeman and slave, patrician and plebeian, lord and serf, guildmaster and journeyman, in a word, oppressor and oppressed, stood in constant opposition to one another, carried on an uninterrupted, now hidden, now open fight, a fight that each time ended either in a revolutionary reconstitution of society at large or in the common ruin of the contending classes. In the earlier epochs of history, we find almost everywhere a complicated arrangement of society into various orders, a manifold gradation of social rank. In ancient Rome, we have patricians, knights, plebeians, slaves. In the Middle Ages, feudal lords, vassals, guildmasters, journeymen, apprentices, serfs. In almost all these classes, again, subordinate gradations. Please don't make me keep reading this. All right, that looks like that's the last page. Great. Thank you, Karl Marx, or whoever wrote freaking Communist Manifesto.
A chamber pot,
Ooh, that's where
Fortunately
people
for
piss.
Carl, inspecting it wouldn't further this particular investigation.
Ooh, medical kit. Carl's inventory is full. Wine. Earth doesn't look this big from here. Doctor apparently is fascinated by history. Makes two of us. PFP, TOZ, LPED, PECFD, LP. Trying to remember what it was. Oh. What's my weight? My nightmare.
Carl got the trembles as he imagined the excruciating pain that kind of scalpel could no doubt inflict.
No
Within
dude.
these miserable walls, patients probably felt more like in a slaughterhouse than in a doctor's office.
God, there's a lot of stuff. What's the... Oh! If I go back to that well or whatever where that thing was. When locking a door isn't enough. Isabelle Beaupre. So his wife. I'll start the fire in a sec. Save it. End part 1. Did I get everything?
Dr. Beaupre had done his medical studies quite far from here. He was surely one of the first students out of the new campus to settle on the mountainside.
Oh.
Someone had lost a few liters of blood here. Carl's first thought had been a lumber accident, someone's hand cut by a saw, or a hunting accident. In any case, whoever had lost all this blood couldn't have gone far. Perhaps they were already dead.
Where's the light switch? Is the power out in this place? I don't know. I'm confused. Where's the power in this building?
A chamber pot. Fortunately for Carl, inspecting it wouldn't further this particular investigation.
All right, let's look at the, oops. Okay. Oh. Hamilton's murder. Okay, the crash. Oh. Alright, so we already talked about the crash. We found the lockbox. Yep. 2 of 2. I knew I'd seen the girl from the car somewhere. The same picture was at the doctor's office. I need to figure out what this all means. Here lies Isabelle Beaupre. That explains the melancholy of the poem behind the picture. Would this be enough to posit that the doctor is the melancholic and that the melancholic is the reckless driver? Elementary, my dear journal. In the box, I found a state affair, no less. Oh, I already read that, right? We already talked about the weird snow. Not a living soul, yeah. The Roys left their house. Okay, let's go over this. An envelope torn open addressed to the Secret Service. If I remember correctly, this whole thing is more intricate than it seems. Is getting rid of the murder weapon by putting it in a mailbox really the best way? There most likely won't be any prints on it. I would have paid to see the postman's face when he found the thing, though. Another envelope addressed to Vaughn from the Secret Service. There's a key inside. The killer must not have known it was there, or they would have taken it. I'm one step ahead of them. Investigative hypothesis. I can easily trace back the chain of events. Hamilton wants to send a very confidential denunciation letter to the Secret Service in Ottawa. He is planning on sending the letter inside of a locked box, and to send the keys separately. It's cumbersome, but he's doing what he can. But something throws him off while he's in a hurry. He locks everything and mails the key, but the box somehow ends up in his killer's hands. Isabel's picture being in the reckless driver's car suggests Dr. Beaupre has something to do with all this. All that's left is to figure out his exact role. According to the doctor's medical file on Hamilton, the two men seem to get along pretty well. Were they friends? Hamilton had so few. It's never good to disclose communist ties in a small village like this, where established order is fiercely defended. Was it only intellectual curiosity on the doctor's part, or actual convictions? Gilles Lachance went to the doctors. Now I need to know if the doctor saw Gilles. I know how to lead the perfect investigation. Blackmailing Hamilton would have been beyond Gilles' capacities. Could he have bitten off more than he could chew by jumping from blackmail to murder? More likely, could Giselle have convinced her husband to kill? After all, her docile partner seemed to obey the strong-minded woman. That's true. Okay, so I still need to figure out some stuff. But we're going to save that for the third video. So can I save here? Where do I save? Shoot. There it is. Saving. Alright everyone, thank you for watching. I will see you in part 2.